I told my mom I respected my dad's girlfriend more than her, and it uncovered a 7-year betrayal that blew up our entire family. Hello Reddit I plus here. I am a 20-year-old guy, and I never thought I would be posting something this personal online, but here we are. This all started years ago, back when I was a kid and still believed adults always knew what they were doing. When I was about 12, my parents' marriage fell apart in the worst way possible. My mother had an affair with the man who later became her husband. At the time, I did not know all the details, but I knew enough. I noticed the secret phone calls, the sudden, late errands, and the way my mother would act nervous whenever my dad walked into the room. When everything finally came out, my parents divorced. The fallout was brutal. My dad was completely destroyed. I do not say that lightly. He went from being a calm, steady presence in my life to someone I barely recognized. He drank too much, barely slept, and looked like he had aged 10 years in a few months. One night is burned into my memory. I was 13, and I had to wake him up on the couch and clean up after him because he had been sick from drinking. I remember standing there thinking that something was deeply wrong when a kid has to take care of their parent like that. The custody fight was ugly, but my dad fought hard because he did not want to lose me. In the end, they settled on shared custody, half the time with him, half the time with her. From the moment the divorce was finalized, my relationship with my mother never recovered. I blamed her for everything. I blamed her for the broken home, for my dad's pain, and for forcing me to grow up too fast. I hated going to her house and watching her act like nothing happened while she played happy family with the man she cheated with. She became this affectionate, cheerful partner to him, while my dad was left to pick up the pieces of his life. She apologized. A lot. She cried, told me she was sorry, and said she made a mistake. I never accepted it. Anytime she tried to move forward, I reminded her that she was the reason our family no longer existed. I knew it hurt her to hear that her own son wanted nothing to do with her, but at the time, I did not care. During my visits, I stayed in my room and avoided them as much as possible. Her husband tried to win me over too. Gifts, forced conversations, awkward bonding attempts. I rejected all of it. Any gift he gave me, I gave away. I made it clear I did not want a relationship with him. Meanwhile, my dad slowly rebuilt himself. He quit drinking, started therapy, and focused on becoming a better father. It took years, but he got there. He was still affected by what happened. Certain things still triggered him, but he put in the work. He became someone I deeply respected, not just as a parent, but as a person who fought his way back from rock bottom. Last year, everything finally exploded. I had a massive argument with my mother and her husband. Years of resentment came pouring out. I called my mother a cheater who destroyed our family. I called her husband a homewrecker and said I hoped he would one day feel the same pain my dad did. He snapped and yelled that he was sick of my attitude and my constant hostility. That night, I packed my bag and left. I went straight to my dad's place and refused to go back. That is when my dad surprised me the most. Instead of agreeing with me, he sat me down and told me I was wrong. He said I should never speak to my mother that way, no matter what she did. He told me she made a terrible choice, but she was still my mother. Then he said something I never expected. He told me he forgave her. He explained that therapy helped him realize their marriage had been unhealthy long before the affair. He said he mistook routine and silence for happiness and ignored a lot of problems. Forgiving her, he said, was not about excusing her actions. It was about freeing himself from carrying anger forever. Then he told me he was dating someone new. He said he was happy, careful, and finally at peace with where his life was heading. That conversation hit me hard. I realized my dad had healed, but I was still stuck in the same anger I had carried since I was a kid. I was holding on to rage on his behalf when he had already moved on. So I tried to do the same. I apologized to my mother. I apologized to her husband. I even apologized to my stepbrother and younger half-brother who never asked to be part of this mess. Things became calmer after that. Not perfect, but at least civil. A few months ago, I met my dad's girlfriend. She is kind, respectful, and genuinely supportive of him. She has 2 young kids, both under 10, and she treats my dad with a level of patience and care I have never seen before. She is younger than him, but that never bothered me. All that mattered was that my dad was happy and healthy. A few days ago, I was talking casually with my mother, and I mentioned that I met my dad's girlfriend and that she seemed really nice. My mother's face changed instantly. She went from smiling to visibly upset. She said she did not know my dad was dating. I told her he was taking things slow, but yes, he seemed happy. That is when she snapped. She called me a hypocrite. She said that for years she and her husband had tried to earn my forgiveness, and yet I accepted my dad's girlfriend without hesitation. She said I had double standards and that it was unfair. Without even thinking about it, I said it. I told her I respect my dad's girlfriend more than I respect her. I told her my dad's girlfriend did not destroy a family to be with him. She did not lie, sneak around, or leave emotional damage behind. She came into his life after he had healed, not while he was still breaking. The room went silent. My mother started crying and said I was cruel and heartless. Now I am sitting here wondering if I crossed a line, or if this was something she needed to hear after all these years. So, audience of Reddit I+, am I wrong for saying what I said? Or was this inevitable given everything that happened?